Guys, in this video, I want to respond to this controversy or this news that's been going on about this Miss Alabama pageant, where the winner was someone who most people didn't think should have won, based on the fact that it was a beauty pageant, and therefore I think most people believe that the most beautiful should have won. Now, I'm not attacking the person who won. I'm attacking the organization. I'm attacking the wokeness, basically. And considering being woke is kind of also being anti-religious, it seems kind of ironic to me that those on the woke side also tend to be atheist, yet also tend to ignore basic evolution and evolutionary psychology. It's like, you know, which side are you going to be on? Anyway, I'm going to put my evolution hat and speak in terms of evolution as to what happened in this competition and why I think people feel rubbed the wrong way by the results. Now, that statement might rub people the wrong way. Female beauty is decided by men. And I mean that because you've got to ask yourself what beauty is and what attractiveness is, which I'll get to shortly. But basically, if you have a panel of 100 men and they decide a woman is not beautiful, then it's going to be true. Likewise, if you take a panel of women and have them judge the appearance of a man and then they all decide that he's not handsome, then the chances are he's not handsome. It's the opposite sex that generally defines what beautiful is, because beauty is attractiveness, and attractiveness is based on mating, health, and fertility markers. So before you argue that men do not define what female beauty is and women do not define what male beauty is or male attractiveness is, then you need to come up with a definitive beauty standard that you can use to argue with the one that has the most research, the most backing behind it, the evolutionary psychology, and what they have found and what they have determined that beauty and attractiveness is based on those markers of health and fertility. And don't say like, oh, because everybody is beautiful and unique in their own way and it's completely subjective. That's just fundamentally not true, and you need to read a book if you believe that. I would say that everybody has beautiful and unique parts to them, but I would also say that at the same time, people have parts that they can improve on and are not perfect. Saying every single part of a person is unique and beautiful is kind of a lazy perspective to have. It's narcissistic, and it implies that you have nothing, that you're already at the peak that you're ever going to be at, and there's nothing to improve on at all. And that is just fundamentally, objectively false. Also, a beauty pageant is defined by beauty. So you need to come up with a standard of beauty to measure it up against. If you have a soccer game, you define it on the objective reality of which team scores the most goals and they therefore win. With any competition, you need criteria, okay? Not some fluffy criteria of everybody's unique and special. In the case of the pageant, you could say that about every person. You could say that that's baseline. Every contestant has a unique and beautiful personality, and the combination of all their attributes are unique and beautiful in their own way. Okay, let's just say that's true. Okay, so that's baseline. So now you have to judge on objective beauty, to be honest. I mean, you can't judge on subjective beauty. So this is the beginning of where people are being rubbed the wrong way with the results. So men and women judge beauty differently. And I saw this video actually a while ago, and what it shows is they put 5 women in a room and they tell them to rank themselves from who's the most attractive to the least attractive. Then they bring in 5 men and they get the men to decide who's the most attractive and to reorder the women who are standing in this line. And it's pretty interesting because what you notice with the women is something that is very feminine. And what they're doing is they're not really doing the task the way they should do it. You can see the way they communicate with each other is like women do and like women are very good at. They're going along to get along. They're not focused on what they should be doing. They're focused on creating cohesion in the group, not offending people, not hurting people, and just going, okay, let's just do it like this, and then everybody feels good about themselves. But that's not the task. The task is to rank yourselves from objective beauty, who is the most beautiful out of the 5 and who is the least. Alternatively, when they did line themselves up, the men came in and they did the task. They did what was asked of them. But they even admitted that they felt bad. They felt bad moving people around. They felt bad having someone needing to be the least attractive person. And, you know, anybody with a conscience might feel a bit bad. But the task is the task. They did the task, and the results, you know, I tend to agree with. So looking at the picture here, I would say that Basically, they got it. Here, there are some subjective elements though. One person is clearly more unhealthy than the other 4. And I think the top 4 you could probably mix and match based on your type, I would say. I would say that they're right about the Asian girl. She is slightly more feminine than the others, but if you like taller blondes, if you like more Latin looking women, if you like black women, you might put them at number 1. I could see why people might do that. I think generally the top 4 are kind of the same on the scale of attractiveness, more or less. So diving deeper on what beauty is, I'll tell you what beauty isn't. Beauty isn't a girl saying to her girlfriend, oh, you look really cute in that dress, even though she's 100 pounds overweight. Maybe the dress is cute. Maybe she thinks the dress is cute. Maybe she looks cute in the dress. But cuteness is not hotness. Cuteness is not beauty. Cuteness is not attractiveness, because she's unable to discern what that true meaning of attractiveness is. And more than likely, she's just saying it to make her friend feel good. So attractiveness, in a nutshell, is markers of health and fertility. If you read books like The Evolution of Desire or any books on evolutionary psychology, you'll learn all about this. You'll learn about the fact that beauty is largely objective and somewhat subjective. A lot of people like to spew out everyone's unique and beauty is subjective and beauty is in the eye of the beholder. No, you're using broad strokes to make generalizations that are just not true. While culture does play some part, like I mentioned before with that lineup, some guys might like the black girl, some guys might like the Asian girl, mostly it's objective. So what are some markers of health and fertility in women? Well, you've got hip to waist ratio, bust, skin, eyes, facial symmetry. There's all these micro measurements in the face as well that define beauty. Lip size, hair thickness. For men, it's forehead, jaw, hair thickness again. Height probably being the big one. Muscular definition. Do they have the triangle shoulder to waist ratio? There's a whole bunch. Hand size, clean nails, skin, acne, all these things go into markers of health and fertility. So what happens? What is happening in your brain when you see somebody and you go, wow, they're hot? And this applies to both men and women, right? You look at someone and you're like, they're hot. What does that mean? What's going on in your head? Well, what your subconscious is saying, because attraction is not a choice, what your subconscious is saying is, if I mated with that person, we would produce healthy offspring. The chances are we'd produce healthy offspring. You look them up and down, you see all those markers of fertility instantly. Good hair, facial symmetry, body. You take that information in your brain and your brain goes, if you mated with them, your offspring would be likely to be healthy. Now, is somebody who's obese, is Miss Alabama, does she display markers of health and fertility? No, she doesn't. The hip to waist ratio is not there. The face, the hair, the way she looks overall screams unhealthy, because it is unhealthy. Obesity is proven to be unhealthy. So that's, I think, the scientific view of why this is rubbing people the wrong way. People look at her, they look at the other contestants, they see the other contestants with strong markers of health and fertility, they look at her with weak markers of health and fertility, and that is getting processed in their brains, so they feel a sense of injustice. They think, what the hell is going on? Her markers of health and fertility are the lowest in the lineup. Why did she win? I don't think it's about hate. I don't think people hate her. Granted, there's some crazy people out there and there's probably some cyberbullying going on, which I don't condone. But what I'm saying is true. It's like having the world's tallest man competition. And there's a bunch of guys who are 6'5", 6'8", 6'9", and then there's a guy there and he's like 3 meters tall, and then the guy who's 6'8" wins. And it's the world's tallest man competition. Everybody's gonna be like, he's the tallest guy. It's like having a race and you're like, all right, go. And then the first guy wins. And then you're like, now the guy who came third won. Why? Because he just has a unique personality and he's from this race or this culture or this body size, so he should win. It's like, no, if you're gonna have a competition, it needs to be based on objective requirements, and the person who has the attributes that are closest to that requirements, like winning a race and having speed, objective, you win the running competition. Objective beauty standards need to be applied in beauty pageants. And honestly, the most controversial part, I would say, adding on to that, is that they should probably be men, because a man or a panel of men, they are going to be best naturally at judging on objective realities, on objective markers of health and fertility. And for those low IQ people who are going to go down in the comments now and be like, well, I know someone who likes big girls, or I myself prefer this. Well, the exception doesn't prove the rule, so I don't know, get your IQ up. Don't be that guy who's like, what about this one person? But anyway, what are your thoughts on the competition? Do you think it's a sham? Do you think I'm on the money with what I said? Do you have any other points to make that maybe counteract mine? I'm interested to hear. Drop them below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.